The Black Phone 2 just hit theaters, and I've got to say I liked it. But before you get the wrong idea, let me be honest. I was never the biggest fan of the first movie. Don't get me wrong, okay? I thought it was good. Solid concept. Ethan Hawke was great as the villain, but that mask definitely hurt his performance a bit. In the end, it was one of those good Friday night movies. Fun to watch, but nothing that really changes your life. What I liked most about the first Black Phone was how definitive it felt. The villain dies. The story ends. Done. But of course, Hollywood is Hollywood. If a movie makes some money, they'll find a way to make a sequel. The problem is, I didn't see any room for a continuation. The villain was dead. The story wrapped up. So how do you even follow that? And more importantly, why would you? Well, to my surprise, the Black Phone 2 answers that in a pretty simple way, by making an entirely different movie. New tone, new rules, new dynamic. Almost a new universe entirely. Which brings us to the big question of today's video. Is the Black Phone 2 just a cheap copy of A Nightmare on Elm Street? Or a bold new evolution? Let's dive in. Before we jump in, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. It really helps the channel keep bringing you more horror and pop culture breakdowns. The story takes place a few years after the events of the first film. Finney and Gwen are trying to move on with their lives after surviving the serial killer known as the Grabber. But during a winter camp trip, they realize that death might not have been enough to stop him because the killer is back, deadlier than ever. And this time, he's attacking them inside their dreams. Yep, you heard that right, in their dreams. And this is where the Freddy Krueger comparison becomes impossible to ignore. The first Black Phone was written to not have a sequel. So how did they bring the villain back? Simple. They basically turned the Grabber into Freddy Krueger. He died, got cursed, and now hunts people in their dreams. It's practically the same setup. Not that this idea is illegal or anything, but come on, it's hard not to think. They totally copied A Nightmare on Elm Street, right? The real question is whether that actually works inside the Black Phone universe. Once you accept that change and go along with the ride, it kind of works. The dream sequences are beautifully directed, brutal, and creative, and Ethan Hawke gives the character more depth this time around. The Grabber is more sarcastic, more dangerous, more unpredictable. Basically, Freddy Krueger 2.0. But this transformation also erases everything that made the first movie great. That sense of realism, the grounded fear of a child abduction, the claustrophobic tension, all gone. Now it's full-on supernatural horror, which to me takes away a lot of what made the original so unique. This time, the story shifts focus to Gwen, Finney's sister, and narratively it makes sense. She already had those psychic visions, so giving her the lead role fits. But tonally, it feels like we're suddenly watching a completely different franchise. It's kind of like what happened with Megan 2, which randomly turned into a spy comedy. That said, the movie is technically impressive. The dream scenes shot on Super 8 film look eerie and nostalgic. The kills are visceral and well-staged. And there's even a smart critique of religious hypocrisy during the camp scenes, adding unexpected depth. The bond between Gwen and Finney also works really well emotionally, grounding the story in something human. But when you step back, the big question is, does this actually feel like a Black Phone sequel? And for me, not really. Everything I loved about the first movie is gone, and the stuff I didn't love is now front and center. It feels like they took a totally different film and slapped the Black Phone 2 title on it just to sell tickets. Honestly, if this same script had been used for a Nightmare on Elm Street remake, I might have loved it, but as a direct sequel, it feels off. The Black Phone 2 has solid direction, strong performances, and some great horror moments, but it feels more like an alternate universe remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street than a true continuation of the 2021 hit. Still, it's worth watching, especially if you're a horror fan. You'll get intense scares, clever visuals, and a few genuinely shocking scenes. Just go in knowing it's a different vibe, a Black Phone from a parallel dimension. Now I want to hear from you. Have you seen the Black Phone 2 yet? What did you think? Drop a comment below, hit the like button, and subscribe so you don't miss my next reviews. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.